Okay, welcome. We are live. At least I believe we're live. Can you hear me? How's my volume? Is my volume working? This is the first time I actually scheduled a live stream and tried to start it from the scheduled screen. So I'm not sure if I done it right. Okay, I did it right. Okay, this is better. Welcome to everyone. It's been a couple weeks, so get your coffee. We have a lot to talk about on this stream. Possibly 2 to 3 hour stream today. Whenever I miss a week, I go a weekend without doing a live stream. The very next live stream, be ready, because I'm going to continue to add content onto the stream that I had prepared. So it will be a long, lengthy stream. But a lot of stuff we need to go over here. I'm a history buff. I think history is very important when you deal with modern or present social issues, and it helps to enlighten people on the severity of their existence, the problems in their society. And it helps to shed light on what actually is a problem. When you have a dysfunctional foundation, you're going to want to get away from certain habits. And that is definitely this dog nut culture. Yeah, welcome. We already got a pretty decent crowd in here. Hopefully we can get up to 100 people. A lot of material we need to go over today. I hope we can have a civilized discussion here. The moderators, we don't even want to give the dog nuts who enter the room much attention. You see them? Don't even give them a warning. Just get them out of here. This is a channel that gets a lot of trolls, as you all know. Several of them subscribe to my channel just to troll in my comment section and the live stream. Incredible stuff. But I had to cover this. The history of dog lovers, of dog nuttery. I heard I read a comment from someone who asked this question. Very important, fundamental question. How did we get like this? When we reflect on this dog nut culture, that question comes back to me every single time. How on earth did we get like this? There has to have been something tragic and unfortunate that got us to this point, right? But before I get into the history of dog nuts, I want to cover something else briefly. And that is this propaganda, this tactic used by dog nuts, where they try to deal with dog attacks, and they will segue into how dog attacks are rare, right? And they start to shift the discussion from attacks to fatalities. I've talked about this before. And they do that because of the few number of fatalities. And of course, it's all opinion on what you consider few. 50 deaths per year may be a lot for some people, right? So this is a tactic we need to be very aware of. And this came to mind after I read this article. Some of you may have read this about a 9-year-old who died after she was attacked by a dog. And this woman, oh my goodness, 9-year-old girl died this week when 3 dogs attacked her in an alley behind her house. Police say the owner of the dogs was arrested. It's a reminder that dog attacks do happen. Now pay close attention to the wording in this stupid dog nut article. It's a reminder that dog attacks do happen. And although rare, they can be fatal. So she just called dog attacks rare. There is nothing rare about 2,000 plus people being attacked, bitten every day. And you have these dog nuts who write articles all the time. You clearly see she just said that dog attacks are rare, right? So it's ridiculous. Please don't wait a minute. I appreciate the love, but please don't promote that lady's. Don't even mention her in here because she has gotten more publicity than she deserves. You know, I don't tolerate people who stab me in the back after I've helped them out, and that is her. But this is a tactic you have to be very aware of. Very aware of. Okay? 2,000 plus attacks per day. Never let anyone tell you that dog attacks are rare. But watch what she does in this article. From 2005 to 2018, 471 Americans suffered death due to a dog bite injury. Already, she has shifted the discussion from attacks to deaths. She wanted to move the conversation into something that gave her leverage. She knew that she could not write that over 2,000 people are bitten every day, because then her idea of dog attacks being rare would sound ridiculous. So she shifted the conversation to deaths. Pretty ridiculous. Now, 471 Americans being killed in a span of 13 years, that is a lot in my book. If this was the work of a serial killer, nobody would say that this is a small number of deaths. But because there are so many dogs, they want to categorize this as a small number, as something that is rare. Nonsense. So already she has shifted the conversation from attacks to deaths. There's a group found that 66% of those fatalities were caused by pit bulls. But this dog trainer and executive director at the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants says one breed isn't more aggressive than another. So this is one of those pit bull advocates, right? She takes up for and defends pit bulls. But you see the tactic, the immediate switch from attacks to deaths. No, keep the conversation at attacks. Because like I said, attacks are serious. Sometimes a person would prefer to have been killed than tortured, then have to go through the recovery process, and then have to live the rest of their life disfigured. Being mauled, mutilated is severe, and it is not something that should be left out of the discussion. Here's another article. It says no, dog attacks that kill people are not that common, and pit bulls aren't the main culprits. Now, this was written by Maureen Strode, right? You see her email here, Miss Strode at bakersfield.com. This ridiculous dog nut article reads, after a woman was found dead in a Costco parking lot June 16th, and police discussed the possibility of a dog attack related fatality, readers expressed concerns about the prevalence of dog bite related attacks and packs of dogs roaming around Bakersfield. Right? Follow me here. Despite public fear of dog attacks and criticism of bully breeds, the data doesn't lie. Dog bite related fatalities are not that common. See, this is a problem, people. They write these articles as if fatalities are the only things that you should worry about. If you're attacked and you live, what are you complaining about? That is what they imply. Oh, you have nothing to worry about. You're unscathed as long as you were not killed. Your face might be missing, right? You might have lost a limb. You might be disabled now, but you're still alive. What are you complaining about? It is ridiculous. This entire narrative is ridiculous. It says the cause of death of the woman who was reportedly, listen to the word, reportedly attacked. How can someone be reportedly attacked? It says the cause of death was unknown. Listen to how disgusting this dog nut is. The cause of death of the woman who was reportedly attacked by dogs is still unknown. According to the National Canine Research Council, dog bite related deaths are exceedingly rare. In 2017, there were only 40 verified deaths caused by dog bites. Once again, they want to focus on deaths, right? As if being mutilated and disfigured is not a problem, nothing to be worried about. We've seen this tactic before. Now she starts comparing the number of people who die as a result of other things with dog attacks. It says comparatively, 970 people died in unintentional pedestrian accidents in 2017. Over 19,000 people were murdered. People were 488 times more likely to be murdered than to be bit to death by a dog. But compare the number of emergency room visits with the numbers she wrote in this article. Over 800,000 people who need emergency care treatment. Compare these numbers that she provided with the people who are disfigured and need reconstructive surgery, right? 20 to 30,000 or more. Compare those numbers. People who need reconstructive surgery are in bad shape. That is no small matter, right? So again, make sure you check these people. Check these people when they do that. They try to focus on deaths and they try to make it sound irrelevant or minor by comparing deaths from other causes. It is ridiculous, and it is a very deceptive and dishonest tactic. She continued in this ridiculous dog nut article. According to 2013 study, there were 7 controllable factors present in all dog bite related fatalities. These included no able-bodied person being present to intervene with a dog bite. No able-bodied person. What does that mean? An adult male bodybuilder? She's obviously referring to people who are incapable of handling an out of control mutt, right? And really, even a strong, healthy man will have problems depending on the dog, right? And how out of control it is. The victim having no familiar relationship with the dog, right? As if the dog knew you, it wouldn't have attacked you. If you were a little bigger, maybe you could have stopped it. What type of excuse is that? Right? Like I said, almost everything that comes out of these people's mouths sounds ridiculous because you cannot reasonably defend this culture. A victim's compromised ability, whether based on age or physical, like I said, right? Oh, you were old, right? You were surrounded by old people, and that's why you were killed, right? Maybe if you had some young, strong people around you, you wouldn't have been killed. Ridiculous. The owner keeping the dog as a resident dog rather than as a family pet. This includes keeping a pet on a chain outside or keeping a dog locked in a basement. So she is suggesting that dogs are less likely to attack when you let them roam freely inside your home and obviously treat that worthless mutt like a child or like another human. Kiss on that disgusting, overgrown rodent. This is dog nuttery. And keep in mind, most attacks are from the family dog, not a resident dog, a family mutt. And the vast majority in America are family mutts that they try to treat like a human, which again is it's a massive insult to human intelligence, to our existence in general. And you should be embarrassed treating such an animal, any animal, like a human, especially dogs, which are the lowest of all animals. The owner's prior mismanagement of the dog, the owner's abuse or neglect of the dog. See, they always want to blame something other than the dog when the dog attacks you. Right? Be very aware of this ridiculous tactic. It's everybody else's fault. Oh, it's the previous owner's fault. The dog must have been abused. We are dealing with aggressive predators, and they attack because they are by nature aggressive predators. Period. Listen to this foolishness. This is the same article. As an owner, we have a responsibility to protect our dogs from causing damage to others. Listen to that. Protect the dogs from causing damage to others. Don't you mean you have a responsibility to protect people from dogs? See, she didn't want to phrase it like that because it would make dogs sound dangerous. Did you catch that? it was ridiculous when I first read this. I had to read it twice. I'm like, what? What? We have a responsibility to protect our dogs from causing damage to others. As if a dog attacking people is going to damage the dog. The only person who leaves that situation damaged is the human. More ridiculousness, more propaganda. It's a responsibility. Just like our kids can't run around and set things on fire. We have to teach our dogs right from wrong in a loving, responsible way. Look, kids do not have a natural instinct to run around and set things on fire, like how dogs have a natural instinct to attack. Here they go again, trying to compare mutts with humans. Compare mutts with kids. And what you have to teach these mutts, or try to teach them, is to not attack. You have to try to teach them against their natural instinct, and that is to attack. Even among carnivores, even among predators, dogs are the most aggressive. Again, because they are mentally impaired. They are dysfunctional creatures, mutants. And I'm going to get into that more a little later in this presentation. You cannot compare mutts with kids. And that was a horrible example. Again, it is not instinct, it is not natural for kids to go around setting things on fire. Because when you see a cloud in the sky, do you hide in the house all day because you think they're going to be struck by lightning? No, you really don't. As if, hey, dog attacks are natural, right? There's no reason to take precautions. This is a phrase that defends the existence of dogs in our society, and it is absurd. What's next? Let's bring lions into our society, into our communities and homes as well, right? If you don't hide from clouds, why hide from lions? Their logic is bananas. There are 80 million plus of them, and they like us. She's talking about dogs. Otherwise, there wouldn't be 80 plus million of them. We wouldn't keep them around. What type of sense does that make? She's saying that just because there's around 80 million dogs, that means that the dogs like us. What type of sense does that make? 80 million, but no animal attacks humans as often as dogs. It's not even close. Not even close. That is somewhat of a contradiction. These mutts attack humans more than any other animal. And basically, when it comes to humans, especially kids, dogs are the only creatures in existence that attack them. The only ones. So what are you talking about? It goes back to this stupid idea that humans and dogs have this special bond. Oh, we've been bonding for thousands of years. Yet, dogs are still the #1 enemies of humans. So what type of bond are we talking about? So this ridiculous article, remember, was written by Maureen Strode. Now, if you Google her name, you're going to find a blog titled Maureen and Her Dogs. These are the types of dog nuts that write these articles, right? These vile people. They are all over the media writing these stupid articles. It's ridiculous. Wait a minute, what is this? So, this woman is a bona fide dog nut, engaged in bestiality, as you can see. When you kiss anything, you are being intimate with it. This is disgusting, disgusting behavior. And it came from a very troubled and disgusting history, origin. And it is one of the things that needs to be eradicated from society. This rare logic is ridiculous. 370 deaths from 2009 to 2019 in a 10-year span. I don't know about anyone out there. To me, That is a significant number. Can you imagine if a toy was responsible for that many deaths in a 10-year span? It would be a big deal then, right? It wouldn't even get that far. As I've gone over in previous videos, when toys cause minor injuries at a much lower rate than that, they are removed from the shelves. But dogs are not only legal, they are promoted. They are treated as if they are holy. And that really makes me sick, makes me want to throw up. Now let me ask a question. If removing dogs from society is an overreaction, is unreasonable, in order to prevent these deaths, then why should we even arrest serial killers? Think about it. Would it be acceptable to rob people at gunpoint and justify it by referring to how rare it is? Oh, don't worry. Yes, I am robbing you, but it's no big deal and I should not be arrested because robberies are rare. This rare logic, it is totally unreasonable. It's ridiculous, right? Again, take a murderer, a serial killer, for example, who kills 5 people per month, right? 3 people per month. How much sense would it make to say, oh, don't worry about it. Don't arrest him because that's only 3 deaths per month. No, that person will be arrested and thrown in prison, maybe even executed. It is immoral to look at the number of deaths and refer to the cause of death as something that we shouldn't worry about, something irrelevant, something minor, simply because you don't believe that that's a high number. No, we're dealing with victims, just as we are with anything else. 370 deaths in the span of 10 years is worth it. One death is worth it. And again, keep in mind, they are talking about deaths, not mutilations. When you go into mutilations where people need reconstructive surgery, multiply 20 to 30,000 by 10. And that is how many people get their flesh torn from their body every year by these worthless, overgrown rats. And this tactic is used everywhere. Look at this. The Atlanta News. Dog attacks as unpredictable as they are rare. Once again, this guy saying that dog attacks are rare. And what does he do? He segues into fatalities. This is the same website. According to dogbitelaw.com, there have been 21 fatal canine attacks so far in 2009. Once again, they will switch from attacks, it will segue into deaths because they don't want to deal with the number of people who are attacked, because that is in the millions. When you are bitten, that is an attack. When you talk about dog bites, you're talking about well over 5 million each year. And that is just the reported dog bites. So be very aware of this foolishness. And be very aware of the stupidity of these dog nuts, the insanity. These people have inherited a very dysfunctional lifestyle. with these dogs that I believe originated during the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages. And pretty much all of the different types of lifestyles that were present during the Middle Ages have no place in society today. In the interest of evolving and creating a civilized nation, we have to get rid of certain cultures, behaviors, and lifestyles. And it is past time that we've gotten rid of this dog nuttery. I want you to watch this.
An only exclusive, a vicious dog attack was caught on camera in Wilton Manors, and tonight we're hearing from a good Samaritan who jumped in to help. Local 10's Terrell Fournay is live in Wilton Manors with the exclusive. Terrell.
And we're hearing from that Good Samaritan and the actual victim of this very bloody dog attack, which carried out earlier today here in this Wilton Manors neighborhood, which is just south of Oakland Park Boulevard near Northwest 9th Avenue. And it all centers around a bully breed type of dog that has been quite a problem for some neighbors who live in this community. That's Maria Zapata walking her dog this morning when suddenly a bigger, more aggressive dog charges right at them.
He coming right away to us. This is why as soon as I saw that, I take care of my dog with me.
You pulled your dog close?
Yes, close to me. Then he attacked both me and the dog.
Surveillance video from the Wilton Manors neighborhood shows the terrifying moments and the owner of...
Now look at that brainless, brain-dead dog nut running after that mutt long after it has started to attack.
The terrifying moments and the owner of the aggressive video from the Wilton Manors neighborhood shows
Look at her,
the terrifying
this
moments
idiot.
And the owner of the aggressive dog.
Look at how worthless her presence is.
I was very scared. I think you don't want to go to pass what I passed this morning because very, very scary.
Maria's hand is stitched up after a trip to the hospital. She still has blood on her shirt and a rip in her pants from the encounter that carried on until a good Samaritan who just happened to be driving.
Look at that. Did you see that? That mutt got away again. This brain dead idiot had absolutely no control over that out of control mutant. Nothing this aggressive and violent, bloodthirsty should exist in our society, people. This is a lifestyle from the Middle Ages. We have to understand that. That is why it's so ridiculous. Just imagine if we still had the other practices present in today's society that were from the Middle Ages. The ownership of these mutants is no different. This idiotic dog nut had no control over that mutt.
Out of my car, and I just held it really tightly. So it
took a bystander to get out of her car to help detain, restrain that mutant.
Dog.
You held the bigger dog?
Yeah, I was just holding it in place because the other woman who was the possible owner didn't have any control.
You can see in the video, during the initial attack, the aggressive dog's owner tries and fails to control the dog, described by witnesses as a pit bull or pit bull mix. The dog that was attacked is this 5-year-old Australian Silky Terrier named Rufus, who sustained some serious injuries on its neck and on its leg, but is otherwise back home and expected to be okay.
I think my dog is better than me right now.
Meanwhile, we stopped by the home of the aggressive dog.
Listen.
The owner appeared to be anything but remorseful.
Does somebody have a problem with dogs like this?
I get what you're saying, but it doesn't make it okay.
This vile piece of trash, this disgusting filth pathetic excuse for a human actually had no remorse whatsoever, tried to play the victim after she not only allowed that mutant to attack someone, but she had no control, no ability whatsoever to stop that mutant. These people are very sick. They have some serious mental, you have to have a mental disorder to encourage, to embrace the presence of predators. Again, not even animals are this stupid, people. They are constantly trying to tell us that dog attacks are rare. Yet these same dog nuts get off on intimidating people, scaring people. They get off on seeing people startled, terrified by the presence of their dog. I want to thank the people who sent me emails. I try to use as much material from emails as possible. You know, usually when people want to send emails, it's something well thought out. Someone sent me this, and I thought it was very good footage. This woman just getting off on walking her dog around in public and seeing people scared. The title of the video is, quote, "Scaring People with Our Dangerous Extra Large Pit Bull." Listen to that. That is the name of the video. If you go to the search engine, type that in, and this video will come up. Look at that. Look at that. These are the loving creatures that are so loving, little angels. All eyes are on that mutt. They are all worried. They are all concerned. This is a terrorist. There is nothing loving about these things. These people have some nerve trying to project these things as angels, putting them on commercials everywhere. I mean, they really elevate dogs to the status of a deity. Why would you do that with something this dangerous and bloodthirsty? Turn this stupid music off. Everybody is on edge. Look at that nasty, ugly, disgusting, overgrown parasite. Overgrown rat. And dogs are look, got that little tiny boy walking that dog. People, when you see this in public, call the police. Call the police. Don't play around with these people. Do not give them any more room to breathe than they already have. A boy this small, look, that dog is too powerful for most grown people to control. How much control do you think this child would have over that mutt if it decided to attack someone? That thing is basically roaming free. No one is safe. Right? When you see this in public, pull out your phone, call the police, tell them that a vicious dog is roaming around under the control of a child who is not capable, physically capable of controlling it. You heard that previous dog nut talk about a well-bodied person. Do you think this is a well-bodied person? That boy would have no control over that mutt if it decided to attack someone. They think this is cute. They get off on seeing people in danger. They are endangering everyone, and they're getting off on it. That's the mentality of these people. Again, these are sick people. I don't care how normal they look. I don't care how attractive they may be, how normal they may sound. If they entertain, embrace this lifestyle, they are troubled, disturbed, sick. They even got the child around this worthless mutant. This is so infuriating to me. Unbelievable. This thing, again, is essentially off leash when it is under the control of a child. Even that man, I guarantee you, would not have much control over that mutant if it decided to attack someone. Very disgusting. Very disgusting. This thing, again, this thing is essentially off leash. Got this little silly boy holding that huge, and that is a huge pit bull. I would have called the police on them. There is no excuse. There is no reason the police should not come up. I can't believe, like, nobody called the police. Kids everywhere, people everywhere. Anything can set that stupid mutt off. And what do people get out of looking at these ugly, hideous monsters? I will never wrap my mind around that. Ugly, overgrown rat. There's another video someone sent me. Many of you may have seen this. This man had to kill his dog because the dog snapped and started to attack him. Now, this guy is basically crying about it. Now, I'm not going to play this full video. I don't want to get hit with a copyright strike. But go find this. The title is Why I Just Killed My Best Friend and Hate Myself for It. It is very disturbing. This guy even says he doesn't have friends, and the dog was his only friend. The dog just decided to attack him for no reason, which is what they always do. And he is crying, breaking down in tears because he had to kill that stupid, worthless vermin. This dog nuttery, it is only possible when there is a mental disorder, a shared mental disorder present. And that is what we are dealing with here. And I want to emphasize that there is nothing about dogs that is interesting, nothing about dogs that is even lovable. You know? Now, I've talked about how dogs are mutants, and they have these mutations, physical mutations. And they also have mental and neurological disorders. Now, I don't know how many people are aware of this, but dogs have more problems than any other animal on the planet. I call them mutants, and the reality of their existence bears witness to that. They were not designed, they were not meant to exist on this planet. And you can see it in their behavior and in their physical makeup. How many people knew that dogs have more neurological disorders than any other animal? It's pretty bad, right? Look it up. It says dogs are affected by more forms of cancer compared to other companion animals. Now, they said companion animals, people, compared to any other animal. Any other animal. Dogs suffer more from cancer because they are worthless mutants that should not exist, that nature did not create. According to the Veterinary Cancer Society, cancer is the leading cause of death in 47% of dogs, especially dogs over age 10, 32% of cats. Dogs get cancer at about the same rate as humans. while cats get fewer cancers. People, humans get cancer at an alarming rate because humans are on a diet that they should not be on. If all humans were vegans, and I mean raw vegans, you got these vegans who still eat stuff like potato chips and candy. I'm not talking about people like that. I'm talking about people who only eat natural foods. According to the experts and according to people who've actually gone vegan, they have much lower rates of cancer. Dogs should not be getting cancer like that, right? They're eating the food they are designed to eat, animal flesh. But yet they are plagued with cancer. Why? Because they are mutants. They were not intended to exist on this planet. Epilepsy. Dogs get more seizures than any other animal on the planet, right? Look into this stuff. When you Google epilepsy in animals, this comes up. Epilepsy in animals is a group of neurological disorders characterized by seizures caused by abnormal bursts of electrical activity in the brain. Like I said, they have deformed brains. They can start and stop very abruptly and last any amount of time, from a few seconds to a few minutes. Canine epilepsy, right? What animal do they bring up first? Dogs. Dogs. And they point out that canine epilepsy is often genetic, but epilepsy in cats and other pets is rarer. Likely because there is no hereditary component. So these mutts, when they were bred, a lot of defective traits were bred and passed on. It just shows you how these things should not exist, how manufactured they are. Colorado State University did a piece on this. I'll leave this link in the description box. Veterinary neurologists treat nervous system problems of all shapes and sizes, from Chihuahuas with back pain to St. Bernards with seizures. Once again, when they want to talk about neurological disorders with animals, they focus on dogs. They do that for a reason. Common neurologic conditions. Seizures. Dogs lead in seizures. Brain and spinal tumors. People, look into this. Dogs suffer from brain and spinal tumors more than any other animal. There's nothing special about dogs. They are not holy. They are beneath all other animals. They are the most aggressive and they are the most deformed. All of these issues are more prevalent among dogs. Disc herniation and disease, hip and joint problems. Dogs suffer more than any other creature. These are facts. These are facts. Again, nothing special, nothing lovable about these deformed mutants. People need to get that through their heads. All you dog nuts out there, there is nothing special about, nothing lovable whatsoever about your deformed mutants. This is an inbred lion. Look at it. This is Kenny, a white tiger who was bred in captivity by parents who were brother and sister. He was born with a cleft palate and crossed eyes and died at half of a captive tiger's life expectancy. He is one of the many victims of people who breed tiger and lion hybrids, such as white tigers, ligers, tigons, etc. These unnatural animals often suffer from debilitating health problems, develop diseases, and sustain injuries more often than other big cats and die prematurely. That is basically the description of these mutants, of these worthless mutts. Dogs are basically the same as inbred creatures like this. There's not much difference between that creature and these mutants, right? These mutts look even worse because, again, they have deformed ears. Floppy ears are a mutation. They have these wrinkles. That is a mutation. These are things that work against the quality of life for the organism. I've gone over this before, but there are several new viewers to the channel. All these wrinkles and folds, that is a perfect environment for infection, disease, bugs, bacteria, germs, parasites. And this sloppy-faced mutant, its face is basically sagging off of the skull. So this thing is worse than an inbred tiger. So as we all know, they have these physical deformities. And as I always emphasize, they also have behavioral traits that are totally abnormal, that reflect the fact that they are mutants, that don't deserve to exist. Dogs don't deserve to exist on this planet. Now, I've talked about how dogs get excited. They have no self-control, no composure. Title of this video is Super Happy Horses. This is the extent to which other animals are excited. This is an excited horse. And what is it doing? It's just running. That is the extent of their excitement. Still well under control. Still has its composure. It's really just burning off energy. Just having fun. Now, someone mentioned chickens. Now, chickens will run up to you when they see you as well, when they know it's time to eat, just like dogs. But you don't interpret this as love. Only when the dog does it, it's interpreted as love. So these chickens see its master, they're running up for food. But look, this is the extent of their excitement. They're not out of control, right? This is how normal, natural animals behave. People, even with monkeys. Even with monkeys. This is as much as you're going to get from them. Now he's telling this monkey to jump up there like that. Right? Just look at the monkey's behavior. It's not out of control. You know, it's kind of creepy how human-like monkeys are. You know, but it is very much in control of itself. The coordination, you know, look at it. How it's trying to manipulate this can and trying to open it. Still very coordinated. Now this thing is excited. It's excited right now. But you can clearly see it has not lost its composure. It's still under control of itself. Right? Here you have a lion. The name of this is Male African Lion Excited at a Omaha Zoo. So this is a lion when it is excited. Let's see. Watch this. Somebody sprayed water on it. Look at this. That is an excited lion, if you want to call that excitement. Now let's take a look at these worthless mutants. As I showed before in the previous video, they have very little control over themselves. What other animal, so-called animal, acts like this? It is only these mutts. Look at it. What is going on with the look, begging for food and just totally out of control, wiggling around, fidgeting around, no control over itself, no composure, just wiggling, squirming all over the place. That is a deformed creature, a mutant. And all this thing is doing right now is begging for food. Again, for those of you who are new and don't know, canines beg for food by licking the face of their mother or alpha. And that is all this mutant is doing. Trying to lick her face. Begging for food. You people need to stop being idiots and interpreting this as love. That is embarrassing. Embarrassing. I mean, it is nothing other than sheer stupidity for you people, you dog nuts, to interpret this as affection or love. It just speaks to how uneducated you are. It is begging for food. Dogs are not happy to see you. They are happy to eat. To eat. Look at this. Out of control, brain damaged, dysfunctional mutant. Look. Just wild acting. Look at him. Can't stop fidgeting, moving, squirming around. What the hell is wrong with these things? There's nothing lovable about this. There's nothing pleasant about this. I don't understand why people would want something that behaves like this around them. Look, jumping all over the place. What was the purpose of that? Jumping on her like that. Behavior with no purpose. No purpose. What was the point in that? This out of control mutant. That's called excitement. No, that is mutant behavior. Completely out of control. No other animal behaves like that because no other animal is a mutant. This is because all other animals are natural animals that deserve to live on this planet. The way people exalt these retarded, ugly, stinking mutants is disgusting. You do a search on YouTube and you get all of these stupid dog nuttery videos. Makes me sick. Now, what's really disturbing, like I said before, is that dog attack victims, can you imagine? They come home mutilated, bandaged up. They come home to this. To see society treating dogs like angels. Can you imagine what goes on in the mind of a child? How confusing that is. That makes no sense. It is a way of telling them that they are worthless, that dogs are more valuable than they are. They're not willing to remove dogs to prevent the injuries that you have. In fact, they're going to praise dogs more than they praise you. People celebrate and praise dogs far more than they do their own offspring, children, their youth. It is disgusting. Even if your dog has never attacked anyone, you are still guilty and inhumane because you are giving the dog the opportunity to attack someone. When you bring them into our communities, you're giving dogs the opportunity to do it. That in itself is inhumane. It's deemed as a crime when you do that with kids in certain cases, even if the child is not injured. I went over the actual laws that even if there is no accident, no injuries, you are guilty of a crime simply by creating the conditions for it to happen. And that, without a doubt, is bringing these things into society, and especially bringing them into a home with kids present. And they go further than that. They will let these mutants, these nasty, deformed mutants, lick on their babies, on their kids. Utterly disgusting. It makes me sick. You know, and it never dawns on them to avoid glorifying dogs out of respect for dog attack victims, particularly children. It never dawns on them. Like, hey, let's stop praising dogs and celebrating their existence, exalting them, putting them on this godlike level. Let's stop this, because there are many people who have just been attacked by these things. It's just immoral. It's inhumane. So the fact that this never dawns on them, it tells you that they're brainwashed. They have a mental disorder. There's no way around it. Dog lovers, they operate like people who have no soul. No soul whatsoever. Just like that mutt. No compassion whatsoever. They have an impaired capacity to love and respect humans. That is always a problem, right? Very similar to a person with a mental disorder who harms and hurts themselves. These are humans who harm humans. And it's sickening how they try to project these monsters, these killers, these aggressive predators as childlike. Look at the title. Dogs innocently stare at owner after getting caught eating spaghetti. They orchestrated this whole thing. Put the spaghetti there, put the chairs there, put the dogs in the chairs, and made a video saying that the dogs were caught eating spaghetti. No, you set this whole thing up. Again, these are a bunch of dishonest, deceptive liars. Liars. And people eat this corny rubbish up. It is sickening how they try to equate dogs with infants. That's something you would say about a small child, an infant. That they innocently stare at their mother or father after getting caught doing something. They're always trying to associate innocence with dogs when that word does not apply to them. There's nothing innocent about predators. You have to check them on that. Infants, children are innocent, not dogs, especially not these pit bulls. That is sickening to me. Put these ugly, again, I don't understand what people get out of laying eyes on these ugly, hideous monsters every single day. And on top of that, they are intimate with these things, have sex with these things. And a lot more of them have sex with dogs than we believe, than most people believe. And they don't even have to have sex. If you are kissing a mutt, that is bestiality from this seat. That is disgusting. And one thing they don't deal with is the fact that we are humans. And we have a special gift of language. And language enables us to bond on a deeper level with each other. And that you cannot be friends or have a strong relationship with another living creature that does not use language. They have a lot of limitation with this dog love nuttery because the thing does not use language, does not understand language. You can't be that close to them. You can't love them that much. It's an empty, disconnected relationship, if you want to call them that. These emotional support mutts. The key to emotional support is communication. Without communication, you are simply playing mind games with yourself. Mind games. You're communicating for that worthless mutt. Why not simply interact with another human? That's a mental disorder. Good communication is an important part of all relationships and is an essential part of any healthy partnership, relationship. All relationships have ups and downs, but a healthy communication style can make it easier to deal with conflict and build a stronger and healthier partnership. Can you imagine a relationship with a human who never talks? Most of us would not tolerate that. It would creep us out, right? But we accept it with dogs. So this dog love and all this nonsense, people, it is sick, disgusting, and it makes no sense. The things, they don't understand what you're saying. There is nothing lovable about a deformed, inbred mutant that does not use language. Look at this sick video. I want y'all to look this up. The title is Dog Hugs and Doesn't Let Go of Owner on reuniting with her after a long time. This is how disturbed these people are. Look at this. Matter of fact, I'm going to put this on slow motion. Look at this. That is disgusting. That is weird and disgusting. To have physical contact like that with an animal is disgusting. at the high. Look at how she's rubbing all over it as if it's a human. These things are not humans, and they don't deserve to be treated like humans. You should know better. Look at her. Look at that. It's disgusting. That's bestiality, people. I don't care what anybody says. That is bestiality right there. She is engaged in public bestiality. We have to start putting this right in these people's faces. This is vile, inappropriate, disgusting, subhuman behavior. 100%. I mean, it should be considered a sin, a crime, to have physical contact with an animal like this. That is disgusting. How dare you embrace an animal like that, especially a dog of all things, the filthiest of all animals, the most disgusting, disease-ridden of all animals, nasty, stinking mutant. This is why I tell you, you cannot kiss these people. They have their faces buried in dog all day and night. This is disgusting. And then she picks that nasty, stinking, disease-ridden, vile mutant up, basically having sexual intercourse with it. You do not have physical relations with dogs like that. That is a slap in the face to the evolution of humans to behave as if dogs are on the same level as humans. This is as low and primitive as a human could possibly get. Because this behavior and lifestyle came out of the Middle Ages, also known as the Dark Ages. And you have to let behavior like that go. This really creeps me out when I see these people with these mutts like this. They all happy and hugging. This is disgusting. Let's see if I can. I'm going to slow this down too. This vile, overgrown rodent. All it's thinking about, oh, it's time to eat. Here's my food dispenser. Once again, as always, these brain dead people interpret the dog's obsession with food as affection. So easy to trick the simple-minded. Oh, it loves me. Are you that starved for attention? Are you that desperate for attention? Look at, again, licking her face. That is begging for food. That is disgusting. That is inappropriate. These people, these dog nuts, they do not value language. Language. How could you possibly love anything that much that you can't even communicate with? It just shows how primitive and brain dead you are. And it reflects your low value for humanity. That is a savage behavior. People need to start showing respect to humans, to humanity, to our species. Seems like taboo, like people are not interested in showing respect to the human species. This is a serial killer type of mentality from this seat. This is an empty, totally empty relationship. It's not even a relationship. These things have no self-control, and they are the least human-like of all animals. Other animals are a lot more like humans than dogs. This retarded, out of control. Here, let me put the normal speed in here. This brain damaged mutant behaves nothing like humans. All other animals act more like humans, especially the monkey. You saw that thing, its coordination and movement, even facial expressions, its demeanor, very human-like. Very human-like. I mean, all other animals have composure, a lot more similar to humans. Control over themselves. Not like dogs, wiggling and screaming around. You see an animal acting like that, it should hit you right away. Something is wrong with this thing. Right? What's wrong with this thing? Wiggling around like a fish out of water. What other animal behaves like that? And, oh, look at this idiot. Now, some of you I know have seen this already. Look at this weirdo. Watch this. Turn the volume up.
With me, but at that time I did not know his personality.
John Gordon makes a request that changes everything. The reporter wants to get up close and personal with Pedro.
I felt like it was going to be okay for the two to meet.
Although he's agreed, Officer Best keeps Pedro on a leash with a choke collar around the dog's neck.
Pedro was doing great. I was kneeling down. He was sitting beside me. Mr. Gordon was kneeling down on the other side, and everything was just as it should have been.
All seems well until the news reporter puts both hands on the police dog's throat and then repositions himself to get even closer.
He leaned over Pedro, and that's a dominating position in the animal world.
Then Pedro makes a move that shocks everyone.
Hey!
Why would that idiot do that?
The dog attacks with his mouth wide open. Officer Best watches in disbelief.
Why would that idiot do
When
that?
John leaned in, Pedro aggressively lunged at his face with a bite force of 450 pounds. Pedro's lower incisors, which are used for tearing, grabbed John's chin just below his lip. The dog's top left canine tooth dug deeply into John's brow, dangerously close to his eye.
Humans are designed to be too intelligent for something like this to happen. Now, did you see how that idiot got closer to that mutt? Somebody made a comment, said that he was trying to get the best shot for fellow dog lovers. Right? He wanted to get even more intimate. So he gets closer to it. He positioned himself and acted as if he was dealing with a woman that he was ready to kiss. See how he did that? Right? Basically, that was bestiality. Like, what are you doing, you disgusting weirdo? You're not close enough. Right? Really, you're too close. What was going through this idiot trying to get all you got exactly what you deserve. Matter of fact, that dog did not do enough. What was that? What a freaking weirdo. What a weirdo. And they do stuff like, all these dog nuts behave like this. Try to get all intimate with these mutants. Now you do it with any animal, you have a problem. But to do that with dogs, the filthiest, most disgusting of all animals, you have a serious problem. Serious problem. Now I'm going to go ahead and show this video. And if, I get a copyright strike or something, I'm going to have to edit it out of the video. I think they give me the option to do that. Let me go here. I want you to take a look at this. I believe this is a recent video. Okay, what's going on here? Bear with me here. Okay, I think they may have removed it. Yeah, I think they removed it. That's too bad. Well, this guy had to shoot this dog because, you know, the guy allowed the dog to roam free in the yard. Let me see if I can find this. Y'all bear with me here. Please call dog. Pit bull shot. Here you go, right here. Watch this. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. Now, what I want you to focus on is the idiot owner of the dog. He said it's a puppy. Now listen. He said it wasn't going to bite you, I swear. People, you have to be brain dead. You have to have some serious brain damage to say something like that. And a lot of them are this way. They can sit there and watch their pit bull bark and charge at you, and they expect you to just stand there. This idiot had the nerve to say it was a puppy. It wasn't going to bite you, I swear. Do you think any sensible person would assume that and just stand there? How could you form your lips to say something that idiotic? Said it's a puppy. It wasn't going to bite you, I swear. That's the level of stupidity and brainlessness we're dealing with these dog nuts. Exactly. You don't allow a dog to charge people like that. Now, this idiot next door was allowing his dogs to roam around outside. There's no fence, off leash. He said he came out the house to notice two unknown pit bulls walking around a neighborhood yard and dragging their leashes. And the owners knew that the dogs were off leash. Now he's trying to act like the victim.
What the fuck you want me to do with him? He's gonna fucking die. He just shot like 5 times.
He's the victim. The owner is pretending to be the victim. He just shot my dog. No, idiot. You just let that mutant, first of all, in the community, second of all, roam off leash, and you let it charge a man. All of a sudden, he's the victim now. No, this man who had to shoot that mutt is the victim. Don't let these people get away with this nonsense.
For what? The fuck did you do about the dead dog? He got to the fucking lead. The dog is dead. You got money for that shit?
Now, actually, that mutt is not dead. Listen to that idiotic woman crying, trying to act like the victim. Oh, come to mommy. How can you get this brain dead? I don't understand this. It's embarrassing. How can a human be this stupid? Be this bizarre? I'm telling you, people, it is because this came out of a very unfortunate, a very troubled era. It came out of the Middle Ages. We have to get rid of this lifestyle. Now back to the original question. How do humans get like this? It is cultural heritage, but it comes from an era that we should not extract behaviors and lifestyles from, just like with many other lifestyles that were left during the Middle Ages, left in the Middle Ages. So should this. Cultural heritage is an expression of the ways of living developed by a community and passed on from generation to generation, including customs, practices, places, objects, artistic expressions, and values. Cultural heritage is often expressed as either intangible or tangible cultural heritage. Now, we have to look at how dogs are dispersed across the planet. They are not dispersed evenly, right? Dog obsession, dog nuttery is actually concentrated in particular areas of the world, primarily Europe and Asia. Right? It's very, as you can see, just in terms of dog population, of course, the United States leads. Second is China. I know people show a lot of videos of dog meat markets. There are actually a lot of dog lovers in China, people. A lot of dog lovers in China. You know, you would actually have to go there, talk to the people there to really get a feel for it. Right? But after China is Russia, Japan, Philippines, India, Argentina, right? Primarily Europe and Asia, UK, France, South Africa. Now, South Africa is much like another European colony. Poland, Italy, Germany, Ethiopia, right? Spain, Romania, Austria, Czech Republic, Hungary. Now, this is the number of dogs per 1,000 people. For example, United States, as always, leads the pack. They have about 250 dogs. See the one down here? About 250 dogs for every 1,000 people. For every 1,000 people in the United States, there are about 250 dogs. And they have a bunch of other countries listed here as well. Right? Czech Republic, Portugal, Ukraine, Philippines, Italy, Bulgaria, Sweden, Israel, Vietnam, China. But what this article points out is that in some countries, you know, there's a huge difference. Down here you have Saudi Arabia. It's like one dog for every 1,000 people. That's a huge difference. Can you imagine going into 1,000 homes and you only see one dog out of 1,000? That's not America. That's not the United States. If you see 250 dogs for every 1,000 homes, that's significant. That would stand out. says the United States leads the pack with 225 dogs per 1,000 people, with only 1.3 dogs per 1,000 people in Saudi Arabia. That is a huge difference, people. That is a massive difference. Right? In the 10 most dog-loving countries, there are about 200 dogs per 1,000 people, compared to 20 dogs per 1,000 people in the 10 least dog-loving countries. Indeed, if you live in the United States, the chance of you having a dog in your life is twice as great as it is if you live in France, 20 times greater than if you live in India. And they point out that religion affects our relationship with dogs, the way we view dogs. Aspects of culture, such as religion, play a big role in human attitudes toward dogs. In some branches of Islam, for example, dogs are in the category of unclean creatures. So the main things that influence people's perception of dogs is culture. Within that is religion and your location. Right? Now, it also points out later, I think I have it here, an excerpt here, how the Bible has a lot of negative things to say about dogs. Now, here in the United States, we have to keep in mind that United States is a merging of different cultures. Originally and primarily a merging of European cultures and African cultures. Now I know that Africans were forced to change their names and so on and so forth, but there were several elements of Africans that remained different from Europeans, and that involves the Africans that were here, the Africans that came over with the Europeans, and the Africans that were brought over as captives and enslaved. Several things have changed. You know, when you merge two cultures, you basically, to some degree, eliminate both of the cultures and create a new culture. You know, that is the result of the two merging cultures. Just like if you mix, yellow and blue, you now have green. It's no longer yellow, no longer blue. And the merging of European and African cultures influenced music, food, entertainment, philosophy, morality, religion or spiritual beliefs, our perception of normality and lifestyles. And I want to focus on that. Both groups brought positive and negative elements from their cultures. In Africa, for example, one of the main reasons Africa was conquered was because of the tribalism that existed within Africa. And to this day, elements of tribalism exists, right? You have the gangs, the Bloods, Crips, the Folks, the GDs, and they're at each other's throats. You have the religious differences. Religion is a huge divide among people in general, but it tends to be a little more pronounced among African Americans, at least from what I've seen in my lifetime, right? Which doesn't benefit us. Just like there was a lot of tribalism in Europe early in their history. And then they did what? They put their differences aside and they started to work with each other. And that is when they prospered, right? That is when they were able to colonize the world, right? They became more powerful when they set their differences aside. But this dog nuttery really did not come from Africa. I had a lot of people on my channel point out how it's primarily from Europe or Europeans or white people. But the thing is, I don't care where it comes from. But the fact is that it is a culture that gets inherited or passed down. Because now here, black people are dog nuts. You know, I don't care if you are inside of your home kissing the dog or not. I don't care how obsessed you are with the dogs. My problem is that you have a dog over there, period. I don't care where this dog nuttery originated. I just want to get rid of it. Because today there are several black people who are dog nuts. Some of my worst experiences came from black dog nuts. I shared the story before where that guy, you know, tricked me, told me he would put the dogs away, and he did. And as soon as I got inside of his home, he let them loose. 2 huge bully breeds. He let them loose. Right? So I don't care where it came from, but it's important to look at it so that we know that it came out of a negative environment, a negative lifestyle, that many other aspects of culture were eradicated and left in the dark ages in order for us to evolve. This dog nuttery should be left in the dark ages as well. Environment and culture influences people. And the environment in Europe was harsh, very little vegetation. Michael Bradley goes over that in this book, The Iceman Inheritance. You can actually read this book online. I'll leave a link in the description box. He talks about how, you know, the dynamic of racism, sexism, and aggression, you know, colonizing the planet, the Europeans, it wasn't simply some type of mental glitch, that it derived from the harsh environment in Europe. It was an environment such where only the strong survive. You know, it was where when you see someone who has goods like food, if you want to survive, you got to take it. Right? You got to take it. So a harsh environment created a culture. And part of that culture is this dog nuttery. Now, in Europe, there were a group of Africans called the Moors who went into Europe, and they were there, most sources say around 700 years, and they helped to evolve Europe. I'm going to play an excerpt from a video that you can find online.
To society are often deprioritized over the impressive accomplishments of the Western world. Concentrated in Mindanao and other southern islands, more like among people. Moors is a country in Mindanao and other southern islands, Moros. Although the history of the Moors is a controversial topic among people, it's fairly well known by historians that the Moors were actually synonymous with the Berber people located in North Africa during the Middle Ages. The Moors weren't a self-defined people, meaning they didn't refer to themselves as Moors. Instead, the word was used more as a derogatory term by Europeans. It's important to note that the Berbers were indigenous to the region and predate any Arab or European occupation. Then comes the argument of their skin tone. Why weren't they black? Well, they were black, but that doesn't mean they were 100% Negroid in genetic makeup. You have to remember that Africa spans over 6,000 miles from north to south. Genetic diversity today are the people that ruled Spain for over 700 years, from the year 700 to 1492, and made considerable advancements in art, architecture, education, and commerce. While London was still a village without a single street lamp, Cordova had a population of over 500,000 people, living in over 100,000 homes. There were 700 mosques, 300 public baths, and 21 suburbs. The streets were paved and lit. The homes had marble balconies for summer and hot air ducts under the mosaic floors for winter. They were adorned with gardens and artificial fountains and orchards. Paper, a material still unknown in the rest of Europe, was everywhere. One of the most notable achievements of the Moors was the learning they brought to Spain that would eventually influence Europe, which was then in the Dark and early Middle Ages, into the very well-known Renaissance period. In the 10th and 11th centuries, public libraries in Europe were non-existent, while Moorish Spain had over 70. The Moors also founded 17 new universities, and historians speculate that it even sparked the formation of Oxford University. In 1105, when Christians arrived in Toledo, Spain, they were greeted with these universities and libraries filled with manuscripts of Greek and Roman knowledge lost to the Europeans, along with Arab mathematical and philosophical texts. The Europeans were dazzled by what they found and soon began flocking like moths to a light bulb, and they immediately set up a translating program in Toledo to translate the works into Latin. Other notable achievements made by the Moors include the trend of changing clothes according to the weather and season, and wearing different clothes in mornings, afternoons, and evenings. A scientist and poet named Ziryab also invented a type of deodorant to get rid of bad odors, and promoted morning and evening baths, all of which were unheard of concepts in the rest of Europe. The Moors also made considerable contributions to architecture.
So before the Moors, they didn't even have paper. Like, it was very, very different. They did not have street lamps, paved roads, all this and that, a bunch of stuff, a lot of innovation. But one of the things the Moors introduced into Europe was alcohol. They mentioned the bath houses, hundreds of public baths. Right around that time, Europeans really did not bathe on a regular basis. And the Moors introduced them to how that can bring about diseases. Right? They had the first libraries, the first universities. But the Moors noticed that there was a lot of diseases, and that these diseases were coming from the uncleanliness, the lifestyle, the animals that they allowed to live with them. Now, in the U.S. Supreme Court, there is a marble statue of Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad, because Islam, the Moors were Muslims, had a profound impact on Europe. And that stretched over here to the United States. So much so, they honored Islam, the Moors, Muslims in general, with a marble statue in the U.S. Supreme Court of Muhammad. George Washington came here with Moors. Profound effect. And during that time, dogs ran rampant in medieval Europe. Again, I don't care where this madness, this insanity came from. I want it to be gotten rid of. Says the later Middle Ages and the years immediately following were one of the most doggy periods in history. During the Middle Ages, it was a sort of a dog nut culture. That is where all of this originated. Now, in that video, they said that when the Europeans came from Toledo, that the Moors had some ancient Greek and Roman writings. That's not true. They simply had the Arabic knowledge. Those Moors were actually those sellout Coptic Egyptians from Egypt, the priests, the Coptic Egyptian priests from Egypt. And they brought a bunch of Egyptian architecture and culture from Northern Africa to Europe, right? Extremely old civilizations in the south, right, of the Mediterranean. And they simply brought it into Spain. Hunting and hawking were by far the most popular sports of the leisured classes. Indeed, the great Duke of Berry went personally to see a dog that refused to leave its master's grave, and gave a sum of money to a neighbor to keep the faithful beast in food for the rest of its days. True, rabies was unpleasantly common, but that was one of the ills that flesh is hair to, not to be held against the canine race. And for the bite of a mad dog, you had a wide choice of remedies, ranging from goat's liver to sea bathing. None of it worked. So they accepted rabies and dog bites as something just normal. It was just a part of life, just like you have today. During that time, the dogs running around everywhere. And they had this unhealthy attachment with dogs, just like we have today. Right? When you go to parts of Asia, parts of definitely the Middle East, those Muslim or Arabic countries across the Middle East, across Africa, you don't see people letting dogs inside of homes. You don't see people kissing dogs. And you got to understand, again, they honored Islam for helping to evolve their own civilization and culture. But they did not adopt the Islamic view of dogs. That's one of the things they decided not to get rid of, the dog nuttery. Right? They accepted the idea of bathing every day, using alcohol for infections. They accepted the knowledge of universities, libraries, right? Several innovations that they adopted from Islam and later honored Islam for this evolution. But with dog nuttery, they wanted to keep that fully intact. And in fact, they have evolved it. It has evolved. And black people in the United States picked it up because it's something that that's cultural. Right? It does not matter what race you are. You can be a dog nut too. And now you got black people who consider dogs their family, and they're out here with these worthless mutts, just like all the other races. Again, I don't care where it come from. You got to understand, this came out of a very low period of existence. The Dark Ages. You don't want to bring this into an advanced society. This lifestyle has no place here. And they were dealing with rabies back then and simply accepted it. Oh, I love my dog. We're not going to get rid of dogs. They just accepted the attacks, accepted rabies. And rabies is horrible. When you get it, you're going to die. It's only a matter of time. This alleged bond between dogs and humans. There's archaeological evidence. This is according to this article. There's archaeological evidence dogs were the first animals domesticated by humans more than 30,000 years ago. I don't believe that, by the way. A lot of history is flawed, and a lot of it I just don't believe. I don't believe were able to figure out that humans domesticated dogs more than 30,000 years ago. As dogs were evolving alongside humans, they are able to connect with us on a deeper level than many animals today. How is that possible when dogs attack humans more than any other animal today? Again, what bond are they talking about? Explain the nature of this so-called bond. These things are still to this day our number one enemy. As much of a dog-loving, dog-obsessed country the United States is, dogs still by far attack humans far more than any other animal. So I don't see reality reflecting this deep bond between dogs and humans. It says alongside evolution of the wolf's physiology, there's evidence of the developing bond between humans and what we now call dogs at a burial site. You know, and I'm not sure about that. This idea that dogs evolved from wolves. I don't know about that. Because why don't we see dogs in the midway point right now? Just like they say humans came from monkeys or apes or chimpanzees. If that's true, then why are there still apes and chimpanzees in the world? Why don't we see any of them in the midway stage, still developing into human beings? A lot of experts, scientists disagree with that. Disagree with this idea that humans evolved from monkeys. And these are the same points they bring up. Why are they still here? And where are the humans or monkeys that are in the midway stage, still evolving? Why did the evolution stop if we evolved from monkeys? And they say, and along came the connection between rabies and dogs. Rabies has scared communities for almost 4,000 years, particularly when it was realized that you were certain to die if you were bitten by a rabid animal. Think about that, people. You're certain to die if you're bitten by a dog that has rabies. And they still wanted to keep these disgusting, vile vermin in their communities. That was a mental disorder, just like all the rest of these sick torture methods. Now, this is one that I did not go over in the video I did about the torture methods during the Middle Ages. Pretty sick. They would force you to sit naked on this triangle with this point right in your groin, in your crotch, and then they would add weights to your ankles. They would just leave you there to suffer, to be tortured, and eventually die. Very inhumane practices that came out of the Middle Ages. It would be a crime for you to do this to someone today. Of course, we all know the seat with spikes. They had this torture method, right? If you fall asleep, that thing is going to lodge right into your face, right? We went over The wheel went over the spike. They would force you to sit naked, and this spike would go directly into your anus and go right through your body. See, your body weight, complete body weight, would be on the point of that thing. Right? That is inhumane. People wouldn't even do a dog like this today, any animal like this today. And yet humans were done this way. Just like it is in our best interest to leave things like this in the past, dog nuttery needs to be left in the past. Crucifixion was fairly common during the Middle Ages. That's a form of torture. And they would just leave the people up there to be pecked on by birds and eventually die. They had many torture methods for the females who they considered to be witches. See, this woman is hanging by her wrists, arms behind her back. Just let them hang there. Very inhumane forms of torture. This article continued. In the Bible, dogs had a bad reputation and were not well loved. And this is something a lot of people who follow the Bible are not aware of. Packs of wild dogs were feared, and any contact with dog saliva was perceived to be terrible. You had to wash your hands 7 times if you were exposed to dog saliva. During the Middle Ages in Europe, regulations for the contamination of domestic dogs and elimination of stray dogs were passed in many cities and states. Each community had its own way of dealing with disease. In the minds of people during this time, dogs were both a faithful friend, a working companion, and the carrier of a frightening, deadly disease. Just like you have today. Maybe not in the form of rabies, but in the form of dog attacks. Basically, it has a negative impact on humanity. To this day, and just like during the Middle Ages, we tolerate it. That is an aspect of culture, cultural inheritance that was failed to be eradicated. And it is not too late. It came out of a dark era, and it needs to be left in the dark era. Humans provide friendship, not mutts. Humans. A lot of this has to do with our lack of appreciation and respect for humanity. And that needs to be rejuvenated. Without language, you don't have a friendship. You don't have a close relationship. All you have is a food-obsessed mutant that behaves in an obsessed manner, and you interpret that behavior as love and affection for you. Very embarrassing insult to human intelligence. Humans are your kids and babies, not dogs. These are facts. Humans love, not dogs. That is a fact. You kiss humans. You don't kiss dogs. Doesn't it sound like I'm talking to a people in the Middle Ages? People who haven't really become civilized yet. You have to keep in mind, there was a process of becoming more civilized when they started to bathe every day, when they started to remove animals from their living quarters. Syphilis came from animals. Now it runs rampant in humans. Right? I believe they say that it came from, bodily fluids, maybe sexual intercourse with animals, syphilis. Several parasites, as we know, that are present and rampant in humans actually come from animals, primarily dogs. So to this day, we're still being affected by the presence of these things. We have not completely left the dark ages in the past. That's embarrassing. We should be above that. You talk to humans. You don't talk to dogs. You should be smart enough to know that. You use language with other beings that use language. Humans listen, not dogs. Humans provide emotional support, not dogs. I covered this in a previous video. How much more effective human emotional support is opposed to dogs, right? Because humans are humans. Anytime you feel emotional support from a dog, it is not from the dog. It is from you imposing a perception onto the dog, believing that its behavior of begging for food is actually love and affection. You think it's happy to see you. You think it loves you. How you could think that is beyond me. Right? I've already shown the proof that food changes the dog's brain chemistry. Its actual physical brain. Humans are happy to see you. Dogs are happy to eat. They do not know your personality because they cannot use language. All they know is that you provide food. You are the food dispenser. There is nothing great or admirable about dogs. Nothing at all. They have no history of greatness like humans. Right? Appreciate humanity. Dogs have no language. They've never created a civilization like humans. Nothing interesting about dogs at all. Humans have history. Many of us have unusual talents and gifts, capabilities. We produce geniuses. Endless number of geniuses that have been born among humans. None among mutts. They are all the same. Nothing but brainless, worthless, food-obsessed organisms. They've never invented anything. They don't invent. Just like you get these dog nuts who say dogs don't judge you. They can't judge. They don't have the mental capacity to pass judgment. And even if they did, they would have to be able to use language to do so. Dogs don't make discoveries. They are not innovative. They are useless, worthless, good for nothing other than several negative things. They don't create music. They don't make any special type of food. They don't have culture. You know how you research different people around the world and you want to visit a certain country because you think the culture is interesting. That's not the case with dogs. Humans are interesting, not dogs. What do you people get out of these things? See how empty of a relationship you have with dogs. It comes from an empty, very troubled era of human history, the Dark Ages. We need to leave cultures from the Dark Ages in the past. Dogs have no culture, right? They have no specific types of clothes, right? You look at the Chinese, they have the Chi Pao. You look at the Japanese, they have the kimono. Different types of dress, people around the world. That makes humans interesting. It gives us sophistication and depth. Right? That is something admirable, something lovable, something to celebrate. Human traits, not a food-obsessed, overgrown rat that stinks and that is violent and aggressive, preoccupied with waging war and attacking people. Right? This culture came out of a disturbed and broken era, and we need to leave it in that era. Very important that we understand the history of this sick, twisted culture that we embrace today. Today, in this country, several of us, we entertain bad habits and lifestyles that came from our home countries, both European and African. And we have to be aware of it and eradicate it. Eradicate it, because it's all cultural. Now you have people of all races who are dog nuts. I recently saw an Arab Muslim online who was a dog nut. Not all of them, even though they're Muslims, hate dogs. A lot of you see the Chinese butcher shops. You think, oh, China's horrible, they hate dogs. Man, there are Chinese people out there who will try to kill those people, who do try to kill them, who attack those people who eat dogs and take dogs into butcher shops. There are some die-hard riders in China, some serious die-hard dog nuts, man. They will fight you over them dogs. Because again, this dog love, this dog nuttery today, it is cultural. Any group can inherit it. And we should not allow our group, Americans, to accept such a primitive, vile culture. We boast about how America is the greatest nation on the planet. How about we act like it by not embracing cultures that comes from a broken era, a dark period in our history? Right? Like it or not, European history is a part of all of our history because it helped to shape the American culture. And all people are products of their culture. Most black people today prefer a European name. They have European names. Most black people you talk to, when you ask them, where would you like to travel, they will mention countries in Europe. There is a shared culture here. But we should not share this disgusting, vile, primitive dog nuttery. People, its origins are bad. And if you have a contaminated root and foundation, the branches are going to bear bad fruit. That bad fruit represents itself in the form of attacks. If you are an adult and you fail to protect your offspring, you don't deserve to live. All animal species protect their young. All of them. It's natural instinct. They don't have to take classes or be taught to do that. It's natural instinct. The only creatures who don't protect their young, who actually put their young in danger, is humans. And we should be more intelligent than that. It should be embarrassing for all of you. Don't talk to me about how your dog has never attacked anyone. Stop giving these mutts the opportunity to attack someone. And it's not just dog attacks. Again, your stupid, worthless, overgrown rats contaminate our water. The number one contaminant of our water is dogs. Dog waste. These things are loud. They disturb the peace. Y'all bringing them everywhere in grocery stores, on planes, buses. They are attacking people, spreading germs, bacteria, viruses, all kinds of crap to people. They are unsanitary, unclean. You let these nasty mutants lick all over you, lick all over your kids. I guarantee you, if we were to remove dogs from society right now, you will have much fewer cases of illnesses. Ever since I decided not to go into homes, or I don't even get into people's vehicles, anyone, because I don't know if they're a dog lover or not. Since I've isolated myself from dogs and people who own dogs, I have not been sick in years. I can't even remember the last time I was sick. I don't get flu shots or none of that. I just live a clean life. A lot of these diseases and illnesses, and skin diseases, they come from dogs. Dogs. These are the most disgusting creatures on the planet. Always with their ugly, stinking nose buried in the ground, looking for something to eat, even if they have just eaten. And they will eat feces from any creature. You are supposed to be civilized to the point where you don't allow something like that into your home. You damn sure don't kiss something like that. You don't allow something like that to lick on you. If you do, you are a disgusting human being. A primitive, disgusting human being. Just like I said in one of my early videos titled, Dog Lovers Are Disgusting. Nothing has changed. You let something like that inside your home, you're disgusting. Like I said, dogs shake. And they shake dead skin called dander all throughout the home. It goes airborne. On that dander is traces of feces and urine. So you, the dog lover, you inhale dog feces and dog urine all day and night when you are at home. That is disgusting. I don't care how many baths or showers you take. You are disgusting if you accept something like that. It's already been proven and established the number of bacteria, more bacteria that exist in the home of dog lovers, of how contaminated dog saliva is. Look at how much you have to manipulate these overgrown rats in order for them to exist in our society as pets the way they do. You always have to give them some type of shot, get them dewormed. You have to actually train them not to kill people, not to attack people. And you want to call this same creature a loving creature, where humans would be a better species if we were more like these things that need to be taught not to attack people? Nothing about these things makes sense. Nothing. When are you going to get tired of entertaining foolishness, disgustingness, and insanity? The very fact that you have no problem embracing such insanity is embarrassing. It's baffling in itself. What do you do with the people who don't mind being stupid, who actually embrace and enjoy being dumb, being disgusting? All you can do is try to explain to them the folly of their ways. That is all I'm trying to do here. People, this crusade will not stop. There is no end to the material that can be covered in this crusade. I feel like I'm just getting started. Just getting started. And as someone suggested, we are going to have to start actually doing things that benefit the population. I do my best to expose the lies in these articles that cover dog attack, that cover dogs in general. A lot of our issues and deceptions come from the media. The media is very poisonous, very disgusting, and you have to stay all over them and correct them and expose them every time because they are committed to deception. So we have to do things that actually have an effect on people's lives, right? I'm in the process of starting a website. Going to have to get a lot deeper into this crusade than we currently are. Again, I want to thank everyone who joined this stream. Thanks to the moderators, the contributors, super chats, everyone. I will make it a point to do another live stream next weekend, and we will continue with this merciless crusade against these worthless mutants, good for nothing, overgrown rats, and their enabling owners.